Twyla is with us in New York. Hi, is it Twyla? Is that how it's pronounced?
It's Twyla, yes.
Twyla. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm messing it up. So, happy Thanksgiving. What are you thankful for?
Oh, I am thankful for the gift of every day.
Amen. How can I help today?
Absolutely. Well, I can't tell you how glad I am. I just found you, and you have helped me just in the few days of watching, like binge watching you on YouTube.
Well, thank you.
Try to get my husband on board. I've been married for 33 years. I'm 57 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very, very concerned about retirement. I really don't have anything. I have $20,000 put away for retirement in a 403B that my employer puts in for me.
Mm-hmm.
Our total income, our combined income, and he's retired, but our combined income is about $80,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. Does he have money in a retirement?
He has. What he had was his company laid everybody off and kind of forced him out early, and he was able to take his 401k, and we followed the advice of a financial advisor who I down the road disagreed on a couple things with, and after watching you, I realized that I wasn't wrong. But in any case, he put it into a Prudential.
Oh, gross!
Into an annuity, I guess. It pays out a certain amount every month.
Yeah, how much is in that?
It's over $400,000.
Okay, good. So you've got a pretty good nest egg. You just like to add to it while you're still working and with an $80,000 income, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was concerned about, like, if I should be he keeps telling me you should be putting money away for retirement because now my employer will match a certain amount. I got such cold feet about it. I'm afraid. I'm like, what if everything tanks? Do you lose all your money? I mean, that's my concern.
Okay, to start with, we would walk up what we call the baby steps. If you've been binging a little bit, you probably heard me talk about that. And that is we're going to make sure we're out of debt except your home. Do you have any debt except your home?
Well, what we did, I'm very proud of myself for this, and like I said, when I found you, I felt like I found a kindred spirit. It's been a struggle. My husband likes credit cards, and he has some spending issues. We both came out of situations with no money when we were younger, and I think it affects people very differently because it did the opposite for me. Anyway, I'm a saver. He's a spender.
Yeah, that's normally what happens. So how much debt do you have, not counting your home?
We don't. We have our home. We own our home. I made a huge.
Okay, so
huge
are you 100% debt free? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Okay. How much debt do you have?
$20,000 in credit cards.
Okay. Well, your first goal is to get that paid off and get yourselves on a budget so the two of you are on the same page. It sounds like he's trying to treat this like it's two separate entities, like you need to save for retirement. So that well, let me just tell you, half of his 401k is yours. You're married. Okay, so you need to start treating this as one goal, that we are going to have enough for retirement, and we are going to have a spending plan that we agree to where the money's going to go, and it's not going to include any debt or use of credit cards, and we are going to get rid of this $20,000 in debt. And then we are going to build an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. Then is when I would start loading up your 401k. And I mean, put all you can put into it, and put it in good growth stock mutual funds. Now, let's address the issue then that, what happens if everything tanks? Okay, good growth stock mutual funds would have 90 to 200 of stocks in them of America's best and brightest companies. So you would read down the stock list, and you would read stuff like Coca-Cola, Dell, Microsoft, Apple, Home Depot, General Motors, Ford. You would read names like that, okay? In order for those stocks to all be worth zero, America would have ended as a country.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All
because
right,
think about it. If you take every major company that is in your mind, when you start naming off 100 major companies, and they all were broke, the only possible thing would have been that there was a political implosion and, someone took the country over, right? It would not be, the economy could not go down far enough without a political collapse for all of the top 200 companies in America to be zeroed. Now, can they go down in value? Yes, they can go down in value, but to all be to zero is virtually impossible in a scenario where you're worried about money. If they all go to zero, you need to be worried about bullets and water and a generator, right?
Okay.
I mean, because you're living in a post-apocalyptic world at that point. And so you're not going to go to zero. Now, can they go down in value? Yeah, in 2008 was the largest drop other than the Great Depression, and they went in half.
Yeah,
and,
I saw that. That's what kind of spooked me.
Yeah, and
with
so
his,
if you're,
with his fund.
follow me through, though.
Yeah.
If you had 400,000 in there in 2006 or 7, and then it went in half, it goes to 200,000. If you didn't take it out, the Dow at that time, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, was 6,500. Today, the Dow is 28,000.
Wow.
So your 200,000 would have grown, let's see, 65 into 28, 5 times, roughly. So your 200,000, it went from 400 to 200. If you left it alone, it'd be worth $1 million today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's your downturn, but you have to follow it with the upturn. You can't just look at the down. And so the way you do this stuff is you read things like that, you understand things like that, and you sit with a good financial advisor, and you can get with one of our SmartVestor pros that we recommend, and they'll have the heart of a teacher, and you learn things like that. Because the only way you get peace, you are wise to not have peace right now. Because with the knowledge level you've got, it would be illogical for you to have peace. It's logical for you to go, all I know is those trucks are going really fast and I'm not going to step in the interstate, somebody will run over me. Right? But if you go, okay, wait a minute, now I've got some knowledge, there's a crosswalk up here, that flashing light means they are all stopping. We're waiting on them to stop and then we're going to go across real safely. Now I've got some knowledge and I don't have to go out there and play Frogger in the middle of the interstate and get run over. And so you're wise if you don't know what you're doing to have some fear. The way the fear dissipates is with knowledge. And so another example is this. When you bought your home, they did not give you a guarantee that it wouldn't go down.
We made a huge amount on the home that we sold.
Right.
I sold when the market started going crazy in our neighborhood, and we bought for two and change, but it was 28 years ago, and we sold for $980 something, and the realtor tried to get me to sell for $8 and change, 800,000, and I was like, I looked. But
here's the thing: all
home.
you had there, you were not, you didn't have a PhD in real estate. All you had there was.
But I knew my gut.
But you had street smarts.
Yeah.
Because you grew up around there, you had a feeling for this neighborhood, you knew what was going to happen, you had a gut, and all of that was based on knowledge. And so the fact that you could make those moves and make those decisions were knowledge-based rather than fear-based. And so if you had that level of knowledge, that street smarts about mutual funds for your 401k investing, and I do, then you'd have the exact same feeling about that as you do about real estate, and I do. So I'm very comfortable with the volatility of the stock market because I'm not going to cash it out. I'm just going to ride it out. No one gets hurt on a roller coaster unless they jump off. And so that's what you learn. You learn the history of the market. You look at this mutual fund and go, gosh, I'm buying a mutual fund that's 27 years old, and out of 27 years, it's had 4 years it lost money. And the average annual return on it is 12.5%. That's a pretty good thing I can look at. It gives me a lot of peace. And that's what you're studying and learning. And you get that information with a SmartVestor Pro, and they'll help you walk through this. Honored to have you as a new listener. Thanks for joining us, and happy Thanksgiving.